It is showtime, folks. Welcome into the Chase and Big Joe show. This is the speaker, Connor Newt, behind the ones and twos. Chase and Big Joe running a little late today. Traffic is bad, but the reporter, Nick Keyser, sticking around with me to fill while Chase and Big Joe get themselves set. Nick Keyser, how we doing today?
Doing good. Yeah, sticking around after Robbie and Rexroad this morning. The guy's going to be live from the Omni down there in Nashville. Connor, nutrition, real quick. What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
Honey Nut Cheerios, baby.
Oh, man.
The
with
OG.
the milk. With the milk, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Well, last night, NBA draft. I know that a few of your lovely cats got picked. What's your first reaction to some of those picks?
Proud dad. Seeing Reed Shepherd, who's one of my favorite Wildcats in a long time, get taken top 3, made my heart warm. And then, of course, Mr. Rexroad mentioned it earlier, Rob Dillingham, drafted by the Spurs, flipped really early at number 8
Minnesota.
to Minnie. So that's a dynamic backcourt to me.
Yeah.
You know, Anthony Edwards, now Rob Dillingham, Jaden McDaniels, and then they drafted Terrence Shannon Jr. out of Illinois at 27. It was in the later first round. But they're contenders to me.
Yeah.
They absolutely are.
Absolutely.
But Dalton Connect, sliding.
I know. Isn't that wild?
That is wild. I would have,
It's a 17.
if I'm the Grizzlies, that's who I would have taken.
I know. And then Zach Edey, obviously getting picked up by the Memphis Grizzlies last night. That was a stretch, quite frankly. He's a big man out of Purdue, tormented the Vols and March Madness. Very interesting pick by them for sure. And I would like to hear what that's going to be like for the Memphis Grizzlies long term. How do they think he fits into their plan? Obviously, not many people have spoken with their new teams yet, or with their team, obviously. Dalton Connect briefly did last night. I've got that soundbite saved. Maybe you guys can grab that later. But, yeah, super fun to see a lot of those guys get picked. So the guys live from Omni finally decide to join. How are y'all this morning?
We're great. We were, we've just been sitting here waiting on y'all to connect on us.
Yeah.
Here we are. We're good to go.
Chase is singing George Jones songs.
We
We're
are
all
singing
good.
George Jones.
You had your oatmeal, so hopefully you're all ready to go, Big Joe.
No, not any oatmeal yet, but we will. Keyser, you're the best. Keyser, you're like Tommy Herr. He was a great baseball player for the Cardinals in the 80s, and he did whatever it took to make his team better. He played second base, shortstop, first base, catcher. He did whatever. You're a great utility man, Nick Keyser.
Well, thanks, guys. Have a great show.
Thank you, Keyser. Appreciate it. Chasing Big Joe, live today at the Omni Nashville Hotel, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We're at Kitchen Notes. And, we haven't said this a lot lately, Joe. It's, a little bit of a rainy morning, and so people forget how to drive.
Yeah, right.
During that.
Yeah, so it happens, and I don't know. It just Nashville. I had hardly any traffic coming in from the airport side, which was weird.
The west side, I don't know what the hell was going on. I look and there's a line back to my house. You remember that Simpsons episode where Homer's late to work and he parks and he has to park at the end of the parking lot and he gets out and he hears, "Hi, Dad." Looks and that's how I felt.
I guess everyone on the east side got raptured today, so congrats to you all who've made it up to the next level, and to those on the west side who didn't. Well,
because here's the
traffic.
thing: people are going to be like, "Well, you should have left earlier." No, if you do something on a regular basis, and you have figured out the routine, and you have figured out when you need to leave, why would you leave early when you know that 9 times out of 10 that time is going to work?
Did Mr. Speaker, how are you today?
Doing well. I just led you off.
Okay, good. Mr. Speaker, well, we couldn't hear you, but Mr. Speaker is the best.
I'm sure you did great.
It was my first time, so thank you.
And never forget your first. that was good.
Well done. Well done.
How long were you on for?
Well, about a minute and a half before you guys connected.
Oh, that's good.
We filled a little NBA draft talk.
See,
Sure, people love that.
Yeah, you lasted a lot longer than Rick Pitino, so we're proud of you.
Well done. By the way, I am cracking up. I was listening to Robbie and Rexroad, cracking up at just the vitriol, or vitriol, I guess we can call it, of Vols fans. How could the Grizzlies take Zach Edey, 9th overall, when Dalton Connect is right there? Go Lakers.
How could they?
Look, What is it? They don't owe anything to the Vols.
No, the guy who you'd rather have, this guy who occupies 2 feet in the paint, or a guy who scores points.
They need a big man. I mean, that's the thing for the Grizzlies. They needed a big man.
I like guys who shoot and can score, man. And can
Now,
move
would I have loved to have seen Dalton Connect with John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr.? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think Edey's a good pick.
But look, if you're Connect and you can land at one team in the NBA, you landed at the one team. You're playing the Lakers.
You know what happened, right?
The
that
Lakers.
wasn't JJ Redick. That wasn't. I don't even know who the GM is, if they have a GM. LeBron goes, want the Tennessee kid, get him.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he'll go get with Bronny.
Yeah,
in the backcourt. They'll be fine back
dude,
there.
I laughed so hard. So did Bronny didn't get drafted, right?
Did not.
It could in the second round, I guess.
Yes.
Which is today. But I laughed. Somebody tweeted last night. Bronny James when he saw the Dalton Connect pick, and it's the scene from Fresh Prince when Will Smith is like, "Why don't he want me, man?" And Uncle Phil hugs him. There were some definitely good memes last night. They had the scene from, I think it was Rush Hour, where Chris Tucker goes and looks up at the tall Asian guy, or it's like John Morant meeting Zach Edey.
The first time ever, two non-high schooler USA guys were taken in the first round, or with the first 2 picks, or whatever it is, and now it comes out with Connect, he's 23 and the age was a factor there. Who was the guy that left Tennessee after his freshman year from Bell Buckle and Webb School that went to the NBA, played 1 year? Remember his name?
No.
I don't. Great, he's making money somewhere. What impact does he have in the NBA? I don't remember. By the time these guys develop, how old are they? 22, 23. Yeah. Have these first 2 guys been through the fire? I know you draft for potential. I get all that, but sometimes that doesn't work out. Connect's been through the fire. 0 scholarships out of high school. Goes to Northern Colorado. Nobody knows who he is. Goes to Tennessee, becomes a household name. Guy's a grinder and a fighter, man. I'd want him on my team as well.
Yeah. I think what's interesting is if you look back, LeBron's class, I think, was the last one that you could come right out of high school in America. You had to do the one.
03, 04, whatever it was.
Yeah, the one and done thing. Is the NBA better because of that?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I don't think so.
Not at all. Look, I'm older, but, in the 80s, I grew up Pat Ewing.
Yeah.
4 years at Georgetown. Jordan, I know, went 3 years at Carolina. Magic went 2 at Michigan State. Isaiah, 2. I get all that. But you watch these guys 3 and 4 years, man, and you become, just infatuated. You love them, and you watch their career go. I mean, now you got these guys, all the potential. I don't understand it, but I don't know. I want a guy who can come and contribute right away, and, I think Connect can.
Yeah. I think so, too. So it'll be interesting. And that's your NBA talk.
I was going to say, with that NBA brought to you by, I'm not sure who, because that's all I know. Now, I could talk NBA 70s, 80s, and 90s I could do a 3-hour show on the NBA 70s, 80s, and 90s. Today's NBA.
You can do that when I'm gone.
Today's NBA, I got about 20 seconds for you. I know Luke Cornett won a title with the Celtics. I'm proud of Tracy Cornett and the family. I think that's fantastic. But other than that, man, I can't do it.
I can't even.
615. Yeah, I know. I can't either. 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We're live today at Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel. We'll have Greg Wyshynski join us at 9:30. Put a bow on the NHL season and look ahead to the draft and the free agency with him. Driver A.J. Allmendinger going to join us. We have a mutual friend.
We do.
With him.
We do.
The Sudzo,
Mr. Michael Waddell. So that's good. I did not know that they knew each other.
Yeah.
So,
through Justin Wilson, the late race car driver.
That's right.
That's how they know each other. And then Jeff Fisher will join us at 10:30.
Well done. All right, so you did something earlier, and I got a question for the day, right? You don't know what these are. I got to give it to you. About Tennessee fans being upset that the Grizzlies did not take Dalton Connect, okay?
Yeah.
So today's also the anniversary of the day I put the graphic up with Mike Fisher, that he's married to someone famous, and it inflamed and enraged the Nashville Predators. So here's our thing today. What's the maddest you've ever been at your favorite sports team? What's the maddest Chase, you've ever been at the Titans? What's the maddest you've ever been at a person?
Hang on, though. It enraged the Predators? I thought they loved it. You mean fans?
Fans.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Fans went crazy.
I thought you meant that. I'm like, I'm pretty sure the team thought it was funny.
One of our friends who's no longer with us called Channel 4 wanting me fired.
Really?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Tell me who off the air.
It was Big Ben.
Oh.
Say, yeah.
Oh, wow.
There was about 20, 30 Predator fans that called Channel 4 wanting me fired for that graphic.
I remember that there were like a couple of people that, said something to me like, "How could he do that?" And I'm like, "It's different and it's funny."
Like how?
And if Mike Mike and Carrie thought it was hilarious,
they reposted it and
Right.
laughed about it.
Right.
And they all laughed. People Magazine ran a story online bashing me. Like, he's a sportscaster in Nashville. How does he not know? I called her. I found her number. And I called her. I said, "Hey, look." I said, You dropped the job as a reporter. The reporter is to get both sides, then write the story. You didn't get my side. She's like, "You know what? You're right." I said, "It's a joke. We all know who he's married to. That's a joke."
That's why. It's local.
Yeah, she took the story down and put it back up. But when it made Entertainment Tonight and when Mario Lopez was talking about it and on and on and on, I was like, what in the world's going on there? Anyway, so it leads into our question, and you brought this up. It's like, what's the maddest you've ever been at your sports team? Whether a game you've lost or something you've blown or a player you didn't take, anything like that.
615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Cameron goes, "What the hell was the graphic?" You know what? I'll use your line. Language.
Yeah,
Unnecessary
Cameron.
there.
It had Mike Fisher signed a contract extension here at the Nashville Predators. So instead of putting you have a two-line graphic, you put his name up there. It's called a super. The bottom super that I put down, instead of like captain, I just put Mike Fisher, and the caption below it was, "He's married to someone famous." And that was it. And he loved it. She loved it. We've laughed about it with all of them. But some got so upset thinking I had no idea who he's married to.
I know. So crazy. We'll take more of your answers. I'll give you mine. I got to think on it for a second.
All right.
We'll do that. We're live today at the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game here on this Thursday. Had to think what day it was for a second. We're live at the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes, as always, on Thursdays. Our question of the day is,
what's the maddest you've ever been at your favorite sports team? Or maybe a player, or something like that on your sports team that you've been mad at, something they've done, they've been mad.
I mean,
Or you can take it.
I don't know if it's the maddest. I was pretty mad because I guess it was the first time we really experienced it that day with the Titans when they released Derek, Samari Roll, Kevin Carter. Like my dad and I were furious at Floyd, like absolutely furious. Like, what is he doing? Not understanding why they had to do what they did. I told Floyd that story one time.
He's like, bring it on.
Yeah, no, he just laughed. He goes, you and my wife included. Like, everybody was, was mad at me. And he goes, but that was the name of the game. I mean, that's what eventually, and that's the thing with Jared's whole thing about the cap being fake. I don't think it's fake, but it's easily manipulated.
Well, yeah, of course.
And Floyd had manipulated the cap to the point that it's just like the Titans now. Like, eventually you have to pay the bill. And so you can push it down the line, That's why the contracts are phony, because you backload them so much.
Yeah.
And that's why players only care about one number, the guaranteed number.
That's right.
That's it.
Preds in 07, didn't they have a fire sale? There's some that are still like Vokun was gone, Hartnell was gone.
Yeah, they traded Vokun to Florida. They traded Hartnell and Timonen to Philadelphia. They didn't re-sign Correa. They didn't re-sign Peter Forsberg. And that was because the team was for sale. Craig Leopold had gone for it. They didn't win. So he said he's out. And, obviously he ended up pissing off a lot of people because he sold the team and then a few years later, bought into the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah,
so,
right.
And is now there. But, I mean, I don't know how mad people were at them then because they kind of understood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm
thinking more on the field, with maybe a thing like, we had our buddy Todd Rodermel here from the Omni was like, he's like John Elway. Because John Elway, he's a big Browns fan, and the drive in the 86 season that beat him. And then a couple years later, Ernest Biner fumbling going into the end zone as the Browns are so close to going to the Super Bowl. He just gets mad at your team for losing those games as well, the things that happen that go on. I remember Tennessee fans were livid, and this again going back to 1990 when Alabama beat them 9-6 in Knoxville. I think Tennessee was ranked second or third in the country, and Alabama was
9-6
field goal game, baby. Philip Doyle kicked a 47-yard field goal for Alabama that would have gone. That was good from 80, and people are like, wow, what? No, I'm kidding you. I'm not kidding you. It was a field goal that cleared almost the top of the goalpost. So I remember Vol fans were just so mad because they had Alabama on the ropes. You're ranked second in the country. And then that happens, and then boom. To some extent, there's Titans fans who are still mad at Robinson for two things. Not taking Trey Smith, not taking Juwan Jennings.
Yep.
What, Trey went the 6th round or 7th and Juwan in the 7th round?
Right. But, here's the thing. You can be mad at him because, it's one thing to be mad at him for passing on a good player. Right?
Yeah.
And those are two good players that he passed on. But, there is no obligation by the pro team to take somebody from the college team. There's no obligation from the Tennessee Titans to take somebody from Tennessee or Vanderbilt or MTSU or Memphis or Tennessee Tech or wherever. There's no obligation from the Grizzlies to take anybody from those schools. There's no – I was laughing at Robbie and Rex were going – are people going to be mad at Barry Trotz for not taking somebody from the Tennessee club team? I mean, it's like there's no obligation there. So this stuff about Will Levis and now, Zach Edey, it's just just get over it.
Yeah, remember we had a guy that we worked with a long time ago who was mad at the Sounds because they didn't draft Vanderbilt baseball players. True story. On the air.
I know.
I won't go to another Sounds game until they draft Vanderbilt. And I was like, that's not how it works, right? Why? They should draft him. I was like, that's not how it works. It's
the Brewers.
Right.
Or whoever they were at the time.
It was the A's. The A's, yeah. So you can get mad at your sports team. And I guess some of those are And I get the passion, man. If you're upset that Dalton Knecht did not go to the Grizzlies, I understand that. But didn't they draft Kennedy Chandler last year, 2 years ago? And
Yeah.
where's he now?
Yeah, he hadn't really done much.
So I'm with you. Draft the player that you think can fit and help your team the most. I thought Knecht. I mean, I don't know a lot about basketball, but every time you turn on, he's scoring points left and right. And I thought that game would translate good to the NBA, and hopefully it does for the Lakers. But look, Knecht landed perfectly. You're the Lakers.
He connected perfectly.
Get out of here. He's not with the Kings, or what's the Charlotte team now? Are they back to the Bobcats or Hornets? What do we
They've
know?
been the Hornets for
Hornets.
like 10 years.
Okay. So they're back. He's not the Hornets where good players never hear from him again. He's with the Lakers. He got drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers. Good for him, man. Now go out and make it happen and have a lot of fun.
For sure. 615-737-1025. Harold wants to weigh in on this. Harold, what's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm a
Not much.
Celtics fan, so I'm a Celtics fan, so I'm happy about this year. But back in, I forget what year it was, when Boston drafted Eric Montross from North Carolina, God rest his soul, I kept thinking, they just drafted a 10-year guy, maybe 10.7 rebounds. But I don't know what was around him, but he never impressed me in North Carolina. But one more thing, shout out to my 2024 Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. They lost in the finals last year. They had the intestinal fortitude to make it back this year and take it home, beat Connor McDavid, and I'll lay up a listen. Thanks.
All right, appreciate it, Harold.
Thank you, Harold.
We got a few weighed in on Twitter. Our buddy Gator Mike says 1995 national championship against Nebraska. Second was the Marco Wilson shoe toss against LSU.
Oh.
That's a good one.
So, I mean,
That pretty much got him fired, right?
it did.
That was the end of Dan Mullen.
I think it was, right? I mean, COVID clouds my mind with so much that happened during that time. But, yeah, being mad at the player. Yeah, be mad at the player.
You know what's funny? You can look at, like, Dan Mullen is the perfect example of a coach that he's the coach that you always wanted. He's the one that the program wanted. Like, everybody had him destined to go to Florida. At some point in time, he was going to be the head coach of the Florida Gators. And by the time he got let go and got out of there, you could just, like, that moment, you could just see him go, thank you, Jesus.
He was so happy.
Like he wanted it, but it's like the stress and the pressure that comes with that. And everybody looks at all these jobs. I mean, his big boy job days are probably over, but there's some good jobs that he could get. And he's looking at, he's on TV and on ESPN like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. All right. I remember Titans fans got so mad. What was it, the game when Lawan hit the guy? Was it the Raiders game in like 17 and they were driving for a touchdown and he launched himself in the pile and got a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty and pushed him back? It was like opening day, I think.
Yeah. He got kicked out?
Yeah. Titans fans were livid.
Yeah.
Because that was a penalty at the end of the game that they had a chance to win that ball game. I mean, just mad. I mean, so there are times when you're mad at your team, at the player or something. That's one of them.
2409 says Tannehill and Downing versus the Bengals in 2021. I assume the playoff game. I don't know if you could really be mad at Todd Downing for that. He didn't throw 3 interceptions.
No.
I get being mad at Tannehill, but that's about it.
I think Titans fans, it's funny with Tannehill. It's always like, hey, he's the second best quarterback ever. The franchise hatches have been to Nashville, and he did this and this. But he threw 3 interceptions against the Bengals, and that was something that's always going to be part of his legacy here in Nashville.
This is Austin in 2004 when the hated Red Sox beat my beloved Yankees in the playoffs. Still sick to this day about it.
So who are you mad at?
I mean,
You're mad at your Yankees.
Yeah. I mean, I laugh at Yankees fans for that one because it's like, yeah, the Red Sox hadn't won in like a bunch of years, 80 years or whatever it was.
Yeah, 18 or whatever it was.
Yeah, which they don't care and they shouldn't care. But,
Right.
It's just funny.
Yeah, so that's basically being mad at your team or mad
Yeah.
at a player on your team or something that happened.
3332. I'm from Tampa and a Rays fan, so when the Rays drafted Tim Beckham instead of Buster Posey, I about lost it.
Oh, wow.
That's a good one. 2758. LaRussa benching Ozzie Smith in 96 only to trade his replacement the next year.
Who was the replacement? I remember that.
I don't remember. Because they traded – Ozzie went to the Braves, right?
No.
Didn't Ozzie end with the Braves?
Ozzie Smith? I don't think so.
No. Who am I thinking of?
You might be thinking of the great catcher Ozzie Virgil, who came over from the Blue Jays in the mid-'80s, who was terrible.
Who did Ozzie? Ozzie ended. Okay, I guess he did end with the Cardinals.
Yeah. I mean, for example,
Thinking of somebody else.
I'm still. I know this is petty. I'm still mad at the Braves for trading Dale Murphy in 1990.
Sure.
I stopped watching Braves, and I know that's stupid. And Joe, get over it. Thank you. I get all that. When they traded Dale Murphy in July of '90, I was done.
Yeah.
I was done with the team.
All
Still
right,
mad.
We'll get back to these a little bit later. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll talk to Greg Wyshynski, do a kind of a recap of the Cup final, look ahead to free agency and the draft. Do that next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. here on this Thursday at the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes. We say hello now to our man Greg Wyshynski from ESPN, senior NHL writer for them, presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Greg, what's up? You survived a 7-game Stanley Cup final and trips from Florida to Edmonton and all the way back. How you doing?
Yeah, it was that was a long one, man. And the juxtaposition between going from the beautiful beaches of Fort Lauderdale to downtown Edmonton was certainly one I'm still wrapping my brain around. But listen, it was worth it. It was one of the better finals that we've had, obviously, and people have been kind of opining that it might be the best ever. And again, with the Oilers coming within one win of probably the best comeback in hockey history. I mean, the last time it happened, there was only 6 teams. Is really impressive. And at the end of the day, I think the right team won. I think Florida's probably a bit better than Edmonton, but it was a really thrilling final.
I agree with you. At the end of the day, I think the better team won. And also at the end of the day, the better player was the Conn Smythe winner. You think they got that right with Connor McDavid?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wrote a piece after Game 4 saying he probably had a really good case to win it, and that was before his second straight 4-point game. I mean, I know there's been a lot of attention on him not having points in the final 2 games of the series, and yeah, it's a bummer for him and for the team. I think by that point, though, there was a bit of exhaustion that set in. He had been battling an injury. I mean, he played something crazy, like 8 of the last 10 minutes of Game 7. He could only do so much, and the bottom line is that they would have been nowhere near the position they were in either after the regular season or the playoffs. Were it not for Connor McDavid, and breaking a Gretzky assist record, coming within 5 points of Gretzky's all-time record for points in the postseason. I mean, these are numbers that we just can't even comprehend. So I had no problem with him winning.
Do you think that Knoblauch maybe got outmanaged a little bit towards the end of that game? Because you just mentioned it. Draisaitl, McDavid, the big guns were on the ice for a long time. They were absolutely gassed at the end, and I think they outplayed Florida for a majority of the third period. But they didn't have anything left in the tank at the end, and I kind of felt like that was mismanaged by the coach.
Yeah, I think he got outmaneuvered by Paul Maurice throughout the series, to be honest with you. I didn't think that, the buttons that he was pressing in previous rounds are not necessarily yielding the same kind of return in the final series. And, listen, I think the one of the big issues that's not talked about is that, they were missing a pretty big player. I mean, in Evander Kane. He had a sports hernia throughout the entire year. He's a top 6 winger. I mean, plays on Draisaitl's line. I think his reputation that we don't, talk about the quality of player that he is. But if you take a second line winger who scores goals off the roster, and all these games are tightly played 1-goal games, it's certainly going to have an impact.
We're talking to Greg Wyshynski from ESPN.
Greg, somebody was saying that it's not fair that the series ends on Monday night and now the draft is this weekend and everything, but they seem to forget 14 teams, their season ended in mid-April, and there's some other teams ended early May. So it's just a victim of your success, right? I mean, if you're the Predators or the Oilers?
I mean, in some ways, yeah. I mean, I think that also television plays a part in why the playoffs go as late as they do, and we should get used to it because honestly, we have this in-season tournament next year, the 4 Nations thing with Canada, U.S., Sweden, and Finland. That's going to push everything late in the summer as well. It's just a really, really quick transition, though, to go from seeing Matthew Tkachuk partying with the cup on the beach to all of a sudden wondering which one of his teammates is not going to get re-signed. I mean, it's like a lightning fast transition to the point where the cup gets won, and then a week later is the opening of free agency. I think I'd like a little bit more time built in, just because I think that it helps fans kind of understand storylines and get into looking at draft boards and all that nonsense. But considering when the final ended, it's going to have to be what it is this year.
All right, Greg. So Tuesday we get news that Shea Weber's going to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and I've never seen a debate of for us here in Nashville, he's beloved. We'd put him in tonight if we could. Can we stop at one point, Greg? He never won a Stanley Cup, so that just drives me insane. Shea Weber to me is a Hall of Famer.
I don't think not winning a Stanley Cup should be disqualifying, but I do think that it certainly increases your case, right? In Weber's case, I found it interesting that he also never won a Norris. I mean, he was a finalist a few times, and he played in an era with some pretty darn good defensemen like Nick Lidstrom and Erik Karlsson. But I mean, the thing about him, and the Hall of Fame has used this in the past, is that even though he never won a Stanley Cup, he won everything else. He won World Championships. He won 2 Olympic gold medals with Team Canada, which I think is a very big deal for that selection committee. He's won in juniors, so he's got wins. He's got championships. It's just not the big one in the NHL, and that's goes back to what people always say: it's the Hockey Hall of Fame, not the NHL Hall of Fame. I was a little surprised he got in as quickly as he did, if we're being honest. I mean, I think that there are worthy candidates that are out there that are still waiting their turn, like Alex McGillney, for example. The idea that they rushed to get Weber in this class is a little interesting, but they've never really been the same kind of stickler for the sequence of who gets in and when, as say like Baseball Hall of Fame is.
Do you think that there was a little bit with Weber? Obviously, the Olympics and all that plays a role, but was there a little bit of his career got cut short? I mean, he got hurt, and so it was a little bit okay. Well, he was still playing at a high level, and there could have been more to come, and so it's like what he could have done.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen that too in the past. I mean, with like players like Pavel Bure, Eric Lindros, the sort of what if of it all, I think probably plays into it. But like you said, I mean, he called it quits after he helped lead a team to the Cup final, right? So it's not like he had nothing left in the tank. But I think he's a borderline Hall of Famer. I'm not upset that he's in. I mean, I think that when you think about the last 15 years of the NHL, I mean, he's definitely one of the most important defensemen from that era, even if he doesn't necessarily have the same kind of hardware.
So Barry Trotz said on our station earlier this week that he's making phone calls, he's taking phone calls, he's in on the big names. He kind of referenced a player from Toronto. So now we're at draft, and this is where some of these big moves go down. How many big moves do you expect over the course of the next few days, and do you think Nashville's involved in them?
I think so. I think he's going to be aggressive. This team is clearly a little bit ahead of schedule with the postseason appearance. I think that he's got a little bit of confidence now. He's got some experience as a GM to really pull the trigger on some big moves. So I imagine they're going to be aggressive. I think we're going to see a lot. I mean, I wrote a bit about this notion of like the dominoes knocking into each other in a piece on ESPN today, which is a little bit more fanciful than reality. But it kind of speaks to the idea that we could see a Mitch Martin trade. We could see Jake Gensel sign with a huge team and be a factor on somebody's top line. We could even see Leon Draisaitl get traded. I mean, that's really one of the bigger pieces of news to come out of the last few days is, him saying he wants to stay in Edmonton, but kind of saying, that they're going to have to see what's good for him and what's good for the Oilers, in that he's got one more year left in his contract. And, who knows if they're going to be able to keep the band together. And if that's the case, I mean, we are only a couple of years removed from Matthew Tkachuk telling the Calgary Flames, hey, I'm not going to resign. And then he, gets traded. So we'll see what happens there. But, I mean, those are the kinds of players, Marner and others, that we're talking about right now. And it's pretty thrilling. And then, don't forget the cap increase, too, which is certainly a factor in all of this, and teams being able to be flexible and make some additional moves.
With free agency, obviously there are two pretty big names that I would think their teams want to keep them. Steven Stamkos, who's 34 years old with Tampa, and then Sam Reinhart, who just won the Cup with Florida. Do you feel like that both of those deals get done and they stay with their clubs, or could you see one or both of them moving?
I could. I mean, listen, Reinhardt's going to make a lot of money on the open market, but being around that Panthers team, I get the sense he wants to stay. I get the sense they want to keep him. He plays a really pivotal role on that team. He's the winger for Alexander Barkov. I mean, and that duo kind of reminds you of an elevated Bergeron and Marchand in Boston. Like, better offensively, maybe not as good defensively, but really good defensively. They're an important sort of bedrock for that Panthers team, and I imagine they're gonna choose him out of the players that are up for new contracts to try to keep. Stamkos is tough, man. They got a price in mind for this guy, and he's either going to take it or leave. I think they are really preying on the idea that this guy's stuff is in Tampa, his family's in Tampa. He wants to finish his career as a member of the Lightning. He wants to be part of this core as they try to press forward and maybe win a cup together for the last time. I mean, they're really preying on the idea that he's going to take some level of discount in order to stay, and that's going to probably lead to him testing the market and probably lead to him seeing some really impressive numbers from other teams that want to bring him in. And then he's going to have a bit of a conundrum on his hands.
Are you in Vegas, Greg?
No, I'm not.
You going to go out there for any of this?
I'm not. No.
Oh, okay, cool.
He's had
Yossi-
enough travel.
Yeah, right. Yossi bring it home tonight or no?
God, I haven't even thought about the awards. No, he's not. I mean, like he's. I mean, I think the consensus is it's going to be a Quinn Hughes year. You know, the Norris more than most awards are, you know, the award where they choose somebody and it's their year. You know, the Hart can be like that sometimes too. That's why I have an inkling McKenna will win tonight. But the Norris more than anything, it's just like it felt from the beginning of the year that as soon as Quinn started putting up those numbers that it was going to be his to win. So I imagine that's what we'll end up seeing tonight.
Is it, Brunette's up tonight. He probably won't win, but that's okay. But does he win by just being one of the final three, Greg?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, like, I think Bruno had a really important year in the sense that there was still this notion from the Florida success that, you know, he's coaching Quenneville's team and he's just kind of taking over for what's already there. And then, you know, he goes to Jersey and does really well. He leaves, they fall apart. He goes to Nashville, they do really well. So there's clearly something going on with Andrew Brunette as far as like his success on the ice. So I think that this was a good piece of validation for how good he's been and the coach that he is.
Well, Greg, it's certainly been a fun season. I know we're entering some vacation seasons and off next week for the 4th, and so I know it'll be a while before we talk to you again. We really appreciate this. This has been a lot of fun doing this every week.
Yeah, absolutely, boys. Thanks a ton, and we'll talk to you next season.
Absolutely. Greg Wyshynski, senior NHL writer for ESPN, presented by ESPN Bet, as always, and really enjoy him joining us here on the program. We'll react to some of that and kind of look at this weekend and what the Predators might do. We'll do that next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game on this Thursday. Live at Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel. The speaker, Connor Newt, is back at the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. And our show is, of course, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel. Going to be interesting to see what happens, Joe, over the course of the next few days with Barry Trotz and the Predators, because I'm with Greg. I think they're going to be aggressive, and I think they're going to be busy. And I think by the time we come on the air Tuesday, which is the day after free agency opens, there's going to be some new members of the Nashville Predators.
Well, we've talked about this. It's stop building for 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
You build now. I mean, no fan base wants to hear, like, hey, we're going to 4 or 5 prospect. No, man. You're going to build now. That's why you make the playoffs. That's why you keep grinding forward. So I'm looking forward to it. Spin, and Barry we trust. That's my thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I think some of the names that, if Reinhart hits free agency, if Stamkos hits free agency, I do believe that the Predators are in a position to be in on those guys. Now, obviously, they have to re-sign UC Saros. That's going to take up probably $8 million, but that doesn't go into effect until next year. So keep that in mind too. So I definitely think he's going to be aggressive.
Stamkos isn't coming here. We just stopped that, right? Well, he's not.
I don't think he is, and I think one of the reasons that Tampa made the trade with Nashville to get McDonough back was because McDonough and Stamkos were so close and part of the leadership group there in Tampa that I think they did that to sweeten the pot to keep him there.
So who do you think – who's the one guy – and again, you know far more about this than I do, but who's the one guy to be like, holy cow, the Preds are serious?
I mean, if Reinhart hits free agency and they offer him, $11 million or whatever, he's probably going to get.
And where's he now?
Florida. He just won the Cup.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to leave, but if they pull off a trade for Marner, I think that's saying they're serious. But they need defense too. I mean, they need scoring, but they need to go add a top-tier defenseman to put next to Yossi to replace McDonough. And I think that that's going to be – and, Montour's one of them. He just won the Cup with Florida. He's out there and could be a potential target. I think trading for Marty Necas is definitely in play. So I feel like some of the trades –
Where does he play now?
Carolina.
Carolina, okay.
Brett Pesci's another one who's a defenseman that's with Carolina, so he's been in the rumor mill. I think the trades you're going to see in the next few days. That's always around the draft. You see some big trades. So I think that's going to happen in the next few days.
So you don't think there's like a massive trade out there where you're like Forsberg and somebody for that?
No.
I mean, legit like you were in 16 when the news came down like, hey, they just traded Shea Weber. What? And then that whole day.
I mean, I don't think so, but I also didn't think that one was coming either. So you never know.
That day, real quick, not to step on this, was what's the big TV sports company in Canada?
Sportsnet or TSN?
TSN, yeah. They called me like, hey, can you do a interview on Shea Weber? And I was like, you sure you want me? And they're like, yeah, you come on. And so I went on 5 minutes just talking nonsense. But I knew Shea Weber's career and the impact he had in Nashville. I didn't know the full extent of what PK Subban could or was doing.
Yeah. There is a little news, and Preds fans might go, aw, who cares? The Dallas Stars are buying out the remainder of Ryan Suter's contract. So this is now the second time he's been bought out. 1 year remaining on that deal, add $1.4 million on the Stars cap for the next 2 seasons, and they'll save $1.4 million with the buyout. So Ryan Suter will become a free agent again. I think this is probably it for him.
Is he one? We talk about our question, they being mad at teams and players. You think, will he ever get – look, he's a hell of a player, right? But he's not going to get the adoration in Nashville of what he might want or should get.
No, and like, here's the thing on that. I'm one of those people that it's time to get over it. I get it, but – also, at the same time, and I say this with all due respect, I think the Predators were the only group, and the Preds fans were the only group that thought he was coming back. I mean, his body language and a lot of people around the league were kind of like, I don't think he was ever thinking about going back.
Right.
So, you can be mad about that. That's fine. Like, I get it. He left your team, especially when they were on the come up. I mean, like they just won a couple of playoff series. He and Weber were probably one of the best defense pairings in the league. But I'll also say this: if you're a Preds fan, if he stays, if he doesn't do that, are we talking about Roman Josi like we're talking about Roman Josi?
Great question.
The answer is probably no, not here.
Right.
I mean, he was here, but he never would have gotten that opportunity, and he became the guy. And I mean, that ultimately led to, David knew that he could trade Shea Weber because he still had Roman Josi. Plus, he was getting a Norris Trophy winner back.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many dominoes with that.
Who did Suter? What was his little buddy who went and played with in Minnesota?
Zach Parise.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What's he doing now?
I think he was in Dallas. I think they ended up together in Dallas.
Buddies.
Yeah. So.
I'll stop my comments there.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll hit the track with A.J. Allmendinger. He'll be racing this weekend at the Nashville Superspeedway. We'll talk to him next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hour number 2, Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game on this Thursday at the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes, as we are every Thursday. It's a big weekend at the Nashville Super Speedway, the Craftsman Truck Series, Rackley Roofing 200 tomorrow, the Xfinity Series Tennessee Lottery 250 on Saturday, and, of course, the Ally 400, the Cup Series race on Sunday. We say hello to the driver of the number 16 for Colleague Racing. He is the defending winner of the Tennessee Lottery 250. In fact, A.J. Allmendinger is on the line with us. A.J., how are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic. Always good to talk to you. And I know Nashville has to be a lot of fun for drivers to come to. The track has really come into its own and a lot of good racing there. But, you know, there's a thing or two to do in Nashville, Tennessee. So I'm sure you enjoy that.
Yeah, you have to kind of average it out of how much fun you're allowed to have and then go out there and do your job. You know, Nashville is one of the, to me, one of the most fun cities that I've ever been to. So, yeah, when it comes to for fans and especially for the industry with sponsors and team members, you know, I think everybody looks forward to this weekend. But, yeah, trying to average it out of not having too much fun before you have to go race.
What do you have to do differently when you have a weekend like this where you're going to do double duty? You'll run Saturday, run Sunday, and you've done that a lot in your career, so I know you're used to that. But does it change up your routine a little bit?
I don't think it really changes the routine much, but it more you put more importance, at least I do, for hydrating through the week. You know, obviously the temperatures are always hot there in Nashville, and you know, for Saturday, like I really don't ever get a break. You're going from Xfinity practice and qualifying to Cup practice and qualifying right back into the Xfinity race. So just trying to hydrate as much as possible during the week. We know as drivers it's going to be hot. It's definitely, you know, a physical and a mental toll when it comes to the heat inside the race cars. You know, I think on Saturday the temperatures will probably be inside kind of 145, 150 inside the race cars. So definitely fitness and hydration is the key. So that's really what I focus on throughout this week, just trying to, even when you don't feel like you're thirsty or anything like that, continually trying to drink a lot of water just to prep. You know, I look forward to it because we got Celsius on both race cars this weekend, both of our Chevys. So definitely going to need a lot of Celsius for that energy as well. So, yeah, we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, and I know Celsius has been a big partner of yours for a long time now. How just amazing is it to have that partnership?
The partnership has been huge. You know, and I've told the story before. When I walked into Colleague Racing in 2019, they had Celsius kind of sitting around the shop, and I'd never seen it before. So to see where Celsius was back then to now what it's grown to, not only kind of North America side of it, but just on the world side of it of everything that Celsius does, it's a lot of fun for me to be a part of that partnership. We've been able to put Celsius in victory lane a few times now, so that's been a lot of fun as well. So I really enjoy this partnership, and hopefully we kind of continue to grow it and you know, make it a big deal, not only for our side of it, but for Celsius as well.
A.J. Allmendinger is on the line with us.
A.J., when I played college football, you know, you practiced during the week, you'd scout the other team, you'd know the team by the time you played on Saturday, you know everything about that team. When you're racing at a track, how do you get to know a track? Does it help that you get to drive Saturday, and of course you get the race on Sunday, but how do you know everything about Nashville and this track before you hit that track this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I think it you know, for us, it's building up a notebook for the few years now that we've come back to Nashville. You study. It's no different than what you guys did, right? You study film from the past. You study film of what other drivers kind of did, you know, in-car footage, anything that you can find to kind of help you. No matter, you know, for me, of winning the race last year, you still go back and kind of look at that film to see, okay, what could I have done better? You know, the track, with it being concrete, it doesn't change a lot compared to a racetrack that's paved and you know, goes through winters and summers, and the grip level kind of changes. That's the good thing about Nashville, is it kind of stays pretty consistent of what you had the year before. But, you know, on the competition side of it, you know, teams and drivers continually get better, make their cars better. So Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just looking at footage from the past and trying to focus on, what you can do better going into the race weekend.
Do you know the tendencies of a lot of other drivers? Like, oh no, on the third turn, so and so is going to dip left because he always does, or do you just kind of go with the moment?
You definitely know the tendencies of all the drivers. I mean, it's I laugh because NASCAR, we consider it kind of a huge circus that travels every weekend, right? Like, I mean, we almost see we see the competitors and your team members more than you see your family most of the time. So. Those drivers' tendencies. The funniest thing about, I think you ask any race car driver, is their memory of what they owe a driver. I mean, it can be 10, 15 years ago, and you remember, I still owe that guy one. We forget our wives and we forget our partner's birthday, anniversary. We forget all that. But you can remember what somebody did you wrong, how many years ago and how many that you owe that person. So that's really what it comes down to, the tendencies, but more than anything, knowing like, okay, I do owe this person one or two, so, maybe this is the right time to take it.
Love it. AJ, I have trust issues, so the fact that you guys use spotters and rely on these guys so much, I find that, to me, just amazing because I trust no one, but you literally got to trust that spotter to get you in and out of spots, don't you?
You really do. It's one of those things. You grow a relationship with the spotter as years go on, and then if you get a new spotter, you really got to it takes a few races to get consistent with their language and what they mean, because our heads are so locked into the race car when it comes to our restraint systems and everything, our headrests that go around us, all the safety measures that NASCAR takes for us drivers. It does limit our vision. So if a spotter says clear, I mean, you have to trust that spotter and go in that second, because he doesn't mean clear in 2 seconds. He doesn't mean 2 more seconds you're clear for. When he says clear, you either trust it or you don't. And if you don't, you probably need a new spotter. So yeah, it's that relationship between spotter and driver is very important every weekend because for us inside the race car, there's a lot that at times we can't see.
AJ Allmendinger is on the line with us. And, sometimes we'll hear the in-car radio, the conversation between you and the crew chief or you and the spotter. And, sometimes it gets a little heated. Are you one of those drivers that if they do say something that pisses you off, does that just make you a better driver and motivate you? Or do you tell them to just be quiet and leave you alone and you just move on?
It depends on how the race is going. I mean, there's been times when I'm like, just stop talking. Just stop. Like, this isn't going well. Like, don't, like, they're like, we're going to fix it up this time on the next pit stop. I'm like, well, you've had 5 already. Why is the 6th time going to all of a sudden fix it? But that's with the crew chief and the spotter, it's, you got to have that trust, because there's times where they got to kind of tell me to shut the F up, right? Like, get focused. It's like, okay, yep, you're right. I'm kind of losing it. And there's other times where I kind of lose it and they just got to kind of bring me back down. So, but yeah, I'm probably more vocal than a lot of guys are.
I love this too, because I look at your career. You started in go-karts and you make your way up. Do you ever get the itch just to go to a go-kart track and just show the kids how it's done?
No, because these kids are so good now. You just look like a fool if you haven't been doing it. There's so much racing going on now. So, once I get away from racing, I kind of like to just get away, play golf, although that doesn't calm me down. That makes it actually worse during the week. So, but yeah, like there was times about 10 years ago where I would go race the big karting races in the off weekend, and you just get smashed. Like, you would get these kids are so good now, and then that would just piss you off even more. So I was like, I probably don't need to. I'm not in a go-kart enough to go out there and I felt like I did pretty good, but the ultimate goal is to go win, and if you don't, you
right.
feel like you kind of look bad. So yeah, it was the kids, like with everything that we do now with karting, and then when it comes to iRacing and just sim racing in general. Like, these kids at such a young age now are so in tune with driving race cars. It's pretty amazing.
That's cool. One time we had Darrell Waltrip on, AJ, and we asked about regular traffic that we have, the regular people that got to go through. We talked about sitting at red lights. And he said, no, I don't do it. I'll make 18 left and right-hand turns. I'm not sitting – I've always got to be going. Are you that way? I mean, do you have patience to sit at a red light? Because, hell, I don't.
Not red lights, okay, but traffic, yeah, I will take more time getting to my destination as long as I'm moving. Like, even if it says it's still quicker to sit in traffic, like, no, I don't want to do that. And then I have found here in North Carolina, like, I'm on a bad run of traffic when it comes to, like, the car in front of me, just lackadaisical, like, leaving, like, a 12-car gap because they don't want to hit the brakes. And, like, they let 3 other cars over, and the line just gets further back. Like, that, I'm starting to lose my mind with that.
Yes, love it.
Talking with AJ Allmendinger. Next week, you guys will be on the streets of Chicago. Next week. And obviously we saw that last year. You're a big road racer. You've had a lot of success on road courses, but it seems like there are more ringers coming into NASCAR than maybe there have been in the last few years. So how has that helped you up your game as being a successful road racer?
Yeah, I mean, one of them is my teammate this year in the Xfinity Series, and that's Shane Van Gisbergen. He's a 3-time Supercars champion in Australia. I mean, he's just world class. So he's been a lot of fun to have in our race team because on the road courses, it's trying to, it's making me step my game up and try to figure out how to find more speed. I think the reason why we have so many now is because in the Cup Series, the cars kind of limit to what I would say around the world the cars act like. So that's something that, for me, I think is why we're having so many guys come in, especially on the Cup side of it. The cars are a lot more similar to what a sports car or like a supercar is in Australia, and that's why you see so many guys coming over and doing it.
Before I let you go, AJ, we all have Chase and myself. We all have a mutual friend. You have one as well. Michael Waddell is a friend of ours. I know you know him through Justin Wilson and all that goes on. So Michael's a good friend of ours. I know that you know him too, AJ.
Yeah, I love Michael. He next time you see him, just let him know that you guys now know that I used to whoop his butt in Madden consistently, and he was always scared to play me. So. But no, I love Mike. I hadn't seen him in a while, so it'd be fun to see him again.
For sure. Hey, AJ, thanks so much for doing this. Good luck in the Celsius car and this weekend at Nashville. Hey, go defend your Xfinity Series title, and why don't you go for 2 on Sunday? We'll be looking forward to seeing you.
We're definitely going to try, guys. Thank you. Thank you always for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. AJ Allmendinger joining us here on the program. He drives the Celsius Chevrolet for Kaulig Racing, and of course you can see him Saturday in the Tennessee Lottery 250 and then Sunday in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Super Speedway. We'll have much more here from the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. It's clobbering time. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3. The game here on this Thursday. It's a wrestling theme. You can stop.
Our question of the day, Chase McCabe. What's the maddest you've ever been at your favorite sports team? And we have some people that have weighed in throughout the show today. This being said, there's a lot of Tennessee fans who are mad at the Memphis Grizzlies for not drafting Dalton Knecht last night, which just makes me laugh.
I know. We got a tweet from somebody asking if we're going to talk NBA draft.
All day.
We hit on it at the top of the show. You know, my thing is I like the Zach Edey pick. You need a big guy. You know, I think the NBA, I mean, what world was that?
Your dry cleaning's ready. Your dry cleaning is ready.
Someone's at the door.
Fire alarm.
Oh, it's the fire.
Yes.
What in the world is going on?
Chase is really hot about Zachy, about Dalton Knecht.
Well, okay.
Did they
All
find
right.
your scented
Well,
candles?
I guess. I don't see anybody running, so.
That's a friend of mine sent me a note earlier. Said he was done with the Patriots when they lost to the Titans in 2019. That's as mad as he's ever been at a team. He was done with them and done with Brady when they lost to the Titans in the playoffs.
Jameson said, I'm still mad at the Colts for ruining Andrew Luck's career. I had some PTSD this past season with Anthony Richardson getting injured.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. And Richardson's now got soreness in his shoulder. It's not 100%.
I never had a good feeling about him in the NFL. Tremendous athlete, great player in college.
He got hurt, man.
But I just felt like, could the body take the beating in the NFL?
So that's our question. What's the maddest you've ever been at your favorite sports team?
Matt in the Borough, McNair getting locked out of the building sent me through the roof with the Titans.
That was still.
So I will tell you, this was during the summer of COVID. Jared was on vacation, so I was doing the afternoon show with Floyd. And, it was, we were just like, what do we talk about? We're kind of at that point. And so I got Floyd to start telling stories, and everything. And
Go ahead. How about fell backwards?
For those of you watching on the stream, you just missed that. Joe just almost did a backflip.
God.
What a segment. But anyway, I asked him, I said, do you ever look back and wish that because I said the original plan was Vince would back up Steve and eventually take over for Steve, but they would have been together. And he said, correct. And I said, do you think about that and wish that had happened and things might have turned out differently with Vince? And he said, all the time.
Ooh.
And he told the story of Steve comes into workout and he goes, I didn't think anything of it. And I pick up the phone and I call Bud. Our Bud calls me and kind of do his morning check-in. And he said, hey, you'll be happy to know that your quarterback's here working out, looking great. And Bud says, get him the hell out of there. He's going to get hurt. Get him out. And that's when he knew that the way this was probably going to end and, that they were going to take Young or had already taken Young, something like that. But, so, that's – I think a lot of Titans fans feel that way. The way that was handled was just – and Floyd was put in such a bad spot for that.
There was. That was such a crazy, crazy story.
For sure. What now? I love when people use voice to text and it doesn't work. Dave says when the Preds traded away Shea Weber.
Yeah. Right. People still mad about that. I get it. I was kind of mad as well. Love Shea Weber.
Yeah. Look, that was certainly a tough one. 5573. Don't forget about the Florida versus Florida State last year. Florida doesn't commit the unsportsmanlike on the last drive. The game is over. Florida wins, and none of us have to hear the whiny Knowles fans complain for not making it. And then he says, or the Braves not taking Todd Helton.
That's a good one. Yeah. You'd be mad. That's fine. There's different reasons you're mad at your favorite sports team. It's in you to be mad at it. I'm still mad at certain things with the Braves, and so that happens.
Josh and Donaldson, the Bush push, Irish for life. I about broke my TV on that one. I want to know if anyone has actually broken their television based on something that happened in sports.
No. Because remember the guy that did it now was like the last big one. He broke it, and he had at the bottom right still had the seal or the bill of sale on there. You can tell it was
so it was a plan.
Yeah, it was a plan kind of thing that went on right there as well. No, I mean some of these are. I mean that's be mad, which is great. Be mad at your sports team though, because those are the ones that you can really hardly ever get mad at. You do this one.
Jim from Mount Juliet, I will never, ever forgive cheap-ass Mets chairman, part owner Donald Grant for trading Tom Seaver.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, exactly.
Are you sure that wasn't Willie?
Our boy 4650, being a hockey purist, when the Oilers traded Gretzky to the Kings, I was livid. Still mad to this day and glad they lost the cup this year. Also, still on the beach in Siesta Key listening. Good job. Need you all to go 4 hours, please. Patrick. Patrick, just enjoy the beach, brother. We're with you in spirit.
Cody says when the Preds fired Laviolette, they should have traded away entitled players like Duchesne. Well, you know my feelings on Duchesne. Ben, the maddest I've ever been is when the Packers took Jordan Love at the time. It made no sense, and I was so mad, but it all worked out.
So
you think
Aaron Rodgers? Yeah. He's pretty good. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's like with the Titans. You can be mad at certain things that they missed draft on. Like I'm not the biggest Titans fan, but I still don't know why they did not take Trey Smith at that point in the draft. I still don't know why they did not take him. And not for the fact that he's at Tennessee. He's a damn good player, and it's showing now with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Robert in Nashville, the number of times that the New York Mets have angered me to the point of wanting to punch a baby goat in the face is too many to list.
Oh, Lord. Sweet baby goat.
Yeah, please don't.
Are these Willie Burner accounts? Is that what this is?
I think so. Seaver for Doug Flynn. Are you kidding me? Yeah, these have to be Willie Burner accounts.
These are, yeah.
What's the maddest you've ever been, Connor?
2021 Kentucky losing to St. Peter's in the first round.
I've seen a couple texts on that. That
was the downfall of Calipari for me.
Connor, that was 22. Let's get this correct.
You're right. I'm sorry.
If you're going to be mad at your team, you've got to get the. You're not mad at the Oakland game.
I'm mad about that one too. But St. Peter's was the start of it.
Well, at least St. Peter's went on a nice run, right? I mean, Oakland didn't do that run.
Vinkin said this the other day. When a team beats my team, I don't want them to win. I want them to lose.
Right. Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Does it feel better? I mean, it'd feel better if St. Peter's would have gone all the way. Then we'd be, hey, they beat Kentucky. But look what they did. What's your excuse for Oakland? I mean, Calipari had no excuse for losing to Oakland.
There's no excuse for St. Peter's.
But they went on a run.
That's not an excuse.
You're Kentucky.
You're Kentucky. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's honestly for me, and I always, look, full disclosure, I'm not a Kentucky fan, never have been. But that for me was they're the most overrated program in college sports, and he's the most overrated coach in college sports.
Wait.
That's kind of how
Kentucky basketball?
Yes.
You're crazy. They got national championships.
Right now, like during his tenure, they were overrated. I'm not taking anything away from the history. They deserve all the history.
He won a national championship.
Won one.
That's right.
He won one.
12
When was the last time he was in the Final Four?
2015.
2014? 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Right. I mean, if he's this great coach, and let's see what he does at Arkansas, but if he's this great coach that can bring the best players in, then why aren't there more national championships?
Hey, Mr. Speaker, did I read somewhere that he has no players at Arkansas right now?
He has them now because they're all Kentucky guys.
Yeah, I was about to say,
okay.
I think half a Kentucky transfer.
Okay.
And then they grabbed a guy from FAU too.
That's fine. Now these A&M baseball players are transferring out, and people are getting mad at these guys at A&M, but it's okay for the coach to leave. These players can't.
Did you hear his BS response?
Yes.
Too?
Yeah. This is something far more than just a coach leaving the school for another school.
I'm going to be curious of something. I said this to Joe last night when I went to Fox 17. I think there will be at least one of those Texas A&M players that ends up at UT. This UT.
Yeah.
Not Texas. this UT.
Sure.
Because they saw like what Vitello's doing, go, you know what, I'll go be a part of that.
Then you got the players tweeting out like, come here. If you want to be a better hitter, come here.
Yeah.
Better pitcher, come here. They
Like,
work, they develop
I take
you.
Laviolette.
Oh, yeah.
You add him to that team?
Sure. Good for these kids. Coaches have done it for years.
Sure.
Have ripped the hearts out of kids. Let these kids go and do it now.
It's free agency. That's exactly what it is.
It is, baby, and there's the Wild Wild West, and there's nobody to stop it.
Coming up next, the Nashville Cats and the Arena Football League made a couple of announcements yesterday. We'll talk to Jeff Fisher, the interim commissioner of the Arena Football League, and, of course, partner with the Nashville Cats. We'll do that next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. ESPN Bet, my official sports book. It should be yours too, because it's the official exclusive sports book of ESPN and the only place to find special offers and promotions from your favorite ESPN shows and personalities. Right now, new users can get a bet reset up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So download ESPN Bet today. What a play. You must be 21 years or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. See the app for details. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. On this Thursday, we're at the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes, as we always are. Let's say hello now to Jeff Fisher, who is with us from the Nashville Cats and, of course, the interim commissioner of the Arena Football League. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for doing this. I know you have been a very busy man. Thanks for coming out to our golf tournament last week. It meant a lot to us, and a lot has changed since then. The league announcing that there's going to be a playoff, and everybody that's in the playoff is going to take this week off and then get back at it on July 5th. Of course, the Cats will be down in Orlando to start the playoffs. So I know you've been very busy putting all that together.
Well, we have, and, it's been really over the last 6-8 weeks, every day there's a change. Every day somebody needs something different just because of, and then we talked about it, because of the situation that most of the clubs were put in. But we're surviving it. It's a great story of resilience and collaboration, and we're really looking forward to the month of July, and that's where all the attention is being focused. It's a bittersweet decision. It divides it right down the middle. And unfortunately, because of the decision, there's 3 teams, the Cats included, that will not be participating in the final home game. That doesn't, and we understand it doesn't sit well with the fans and everybody, but in the best interest of the league and the future of the league and the potential outstanding relationships with a broadcast partner, the league felt that this was the best thing moving forward, and it was to fine-tune, sharpen everybody for the playoffs and have a great playoff run. And if I would have thought, back, 6 or 8 weeks ago that this would fall into place the way it has, I might have second-guessed that back then. But every day, the positive things are happening. You can get past the cancellation of the home games here at Salina and Orlando. But nonetheless, all those teams are in. Salina and Orlando get to host a home playoff game, which is outstanding for them. And, we're just going to look forward to, the first round. And, I'll put my Cat hat on now. Our recently acquired quarterback went into Billings in the last game that they played and upset an undefeated and the number 1 seed after being here for a week. So optimism is there. I'm kind of looking forward to see how different he is and the Cats are with the time off. They have plenty of time to prepare for it. So a lot of good things ahead, and appreciate the opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah, Coach, Chase and I were talking about it. If there's one guy that knows about moving and things getting disrupted and moving again and things getting disrupted, it's one Jeff Fisher. Of course, you had the 4 home fields in the 4 years from 96 to 99. So this. At the end of the day, it's about keeping the guys good, keeping the attitude good, and then making sure everybody's on the same page. Easier said than done, I would think.
Well, I mean, you got different dynamics. You have your team, and you have all the teams and all the players themselves, and they're really looking forward to this. You got 2 or 3 of the teams that actually need the time off. It's been a rough go with the travel, and no excuse, but it is. It's a contact sport, and a few of these teams need some time off. Cats, on the other hand, they're ready and eager to play, but you have the different dynamics of the ownership, and each and every one of them is they're really outstanding people, and they're scratching and clawing to finish, and so there's some emotions involved that you have to deal with, but overall, I mean, I think my role has been, seemed like my whole career, is what are the unintended consequences of a decision that you make, and so you have to iron those things out. You have to be able to anticipate those things, and oftentimes anticipate a change or two beyond the one that you're addressing. I think I might have said this to you. I mean, I didn't sleep on Saturday night's for a game unless I was comfortable knowing who my 4th long snapper was. So, you got to have options, and you got to have options, and you got to be prepared for whatever you anticipate coming up.
Jeff Fisher is on the line with us, and the Cats will resume play on July 5th in the playoffs. Of course, you can hear that on 102.5 The Game. you've mentioned several times the future of the league, and I know that is your goal. That is the goal of ownership and other people's within the league. So how much will this playoff in the month of July help shape that future and keep this league alive? Because look, it's with everything that you guys have gone through and everything that's happened, it'd be very easy to say, hey, we gave it a shot, didn't work, pack up and move on. But you haven't done that. And I think that's really cool to see.
Well, I appreciate it. What the way I'm wired, I want every club to survive. The relationships between the organizations and the players and their fans are most important. Some of these small towns around the country, it's the only game in town. And, when people for the first time, many of our listeners right now, and you guys have been to games, you know what indoor game is about. It's highly exciting and fast and quick. And the first-timers that are coming in right now that I've talked to are going, oh, my gosh, I didn't know it was this fun. So, when we have games last week that, were decided on a deuce kick with no time left, and the uprights, which look like they're about 4 inches wide, was split from 60 or 58 yards at the end. You just have these exciting endings. And so, the future's good. We have a long list of franchises that want to get in and get involved. But before you go there, you've got to surround yourself. It's like, I say oftentimes, and you're going to be as good as the people that you surround yourself with. And I'm really excited about the hires that the league at the league level, people with a wealth of experience in not only this industry but other sports that are looking forward, that want to come in, and that should speak volumes of the anticipated and the expected future of indoor football. And I think, I'm not saying it's all the future rests on the playoffs, but I believe what it will do is will open sponsors' eyes. It will create a lot of great relationships. We'll be able to sit down, not be in a hurry, reorganize, get operation agreements together, and then go ahead and vet those new franchises that want to come in. So, I'm not one of those guys that makes predictions or forecasts, but there's going to be a lot of teams in at least one league, maybe two, next spring when we line up and start the 25 season.
We're talking to Jeff Fisher on the Chasing Big Joe show. All right, for Coach, if somebody just tuned in and want to know what's next for the Nashville Cats as far as this season is concerned, what's going to happen next? And please, if people just turned in now, like when's the next Cats game? They're in the playoffs now and all that.
The Nashville Cats will be traveling down next weekend to Orlando to face in the first round of the playoffs, the Orlando club on Friday night at 7:30. Double check the time. I believe it's 7:30 Eastern. It will be broadcast, as you say, and on radio. In addition to that, it will be broadcasted nationally by a major network.
Wow. Yeah, and I know you're going to be announcing that soon.
To be announced, yes. So I'm sworn to secrecy, although I think it's probably already out. But anyway, that's for the fans that are listening. You'll be able to watch your Cats next Friday night if you have a television.
Very, very cool. The assistant commissioner of transportation said that that there'll be some big things ahead. So I'm glad to hear that for you guys. Coach, appreciate it as always, and we look forward to seeing the Cats in the playoffs next week.
Hey, thanks for the opportunity, guys. Have a great weekend and enjoy your fourth.
Yep, you too. Coach Jeff Fisher joining us, the commissioner of the Arena Football League, and, of course, partnering with the Nashville Cats here on the program. And you can hear Cats football next Friday night at 6:30 Central Time against Orlando on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We'll come back with What Day Is It and celebrity birthdays here on the Chasing Big Joe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. FivePointsRoofing.com. That's where you need to go if you need to get your roof checked out. They're checking roofs here at the Omni, apparently. With some of the storms that came through, maybe you got some damage on your property. You want to get your roof checked out. 5 Points Roofing will come out and do that for free, and then they will take you through the insurance claim process if you need to go that route. So 5pointsroofing.com, FIVE pointsroofing.com is the website. They are so easy to work with. I've enjoyed working with them. You need to as well. 5pointsroofing.com. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game here on this Thursday. Join the Nashville Predators for the 2024 NHL Draft Watch Party at Draft Picks Restaurant and Bar inside of Fordyce Bellevue tomorrow starting at 6. You can celebrate the newest members of Smashville while enjoying food and drink specials, door prizes, games hosted by Wayne D., and live broadcasts from us here on 102.5 The Game, Draft Night in Smashville. More details at NashvillePredators.com/draft. Willie Donick and Max Hers will be anchoring our coverage out there, joined by Pete Weber, Chris Mason, Stu Grimson, and others. So looking forward to that tomorrow night at Fordyce in Bellevue. With that, is it time?
It is time.
Let's get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays.
All right, gentlemen, what day is it? Today is
Thursday.
Yes. Chase, I bet you wish this was a few days ago. It's National Bingo Day.
I love some bingo.
Yes, I know you do.
Music bingo.
Music bingo. National Sunglasses Day.
I love a good sunglasses.
Another day for
Fair.
Chase, National Work from Home Day.
Sometimes I need a break from Joe.
Another day for Chase, National Decide to Be Married Day. This might
Now,
be
why is that for me?
your due.
Oh, no.
National Handshake Day.
I look like I might be due.
It's National Handshake Day.
Nice.
National Ice Cream Cake Day.
Hold on, handshake?
Handshake.
You know, after COVID, nobody shakes hands anymore. It's all fist bumps.
I shake hands.
I like a good, firm handshake.
It determines if whether you're a man or not.
Something
Oh, is that it? Okay.
It's masculinity.
It is masculine. You're correct on that, Mr.
Yeah.
Speaker.
And the last one is National Onion Day.
Not an onion fan.
No, me
I
neither.
like onions.
You do? You like
Yeah.
onions?
I do.
Onions and I don't see eye to eye.
They make me cry.
Yeah, see?
Do
That's
they?
fine.
You like grilled onions?
Yeah.
Okay. Not an onion guy.
Like grilled onion. I just like onions.
Have you ever tried grilled pineapple?
I have.
So
Fantastic.
good. Yes.
Pineapple belongs on a pizza. Just saying.
Yes.
Pineapple belongs wherever you want it to belong. All right.
Fight me on that.
Time. My Apple Watch has said I'm doing a great job of my activity. I haven't moved in an hour.
Yeah, mine says almost there, too. No, you moved to go get more oatmeal.
I guess almost there means I'm almost ready to die.
Maybe it thought you did a backflip when you fell out of your seat earlier.
It's just like, hey, you're almost there. To where, we don't know.
Right.
But you're almost there.
All right, time for celebrity birthdays. You got to get them within 2 years. Our first birthday today is Bruce Johnston. Name doesn't ring a bell. He's a keyboard player for the Beach Boys. You know his face.
Okay. 81.
76.
He's 82 today. So the boss is up 1-0. Next up is, director J.J. Abrams.
Oh, I like him. Did the Star Trek movies. J.J. Abrams, 55.
58.
58 exactly.
Wow, nice.
Mr.
Good job.
Speaker, you're up 2-1. Let's see. Next is Tobey Maguire,
Spider-Man.
who looks
Best
just like
Spider-Man.
he looks just like Jake Locker.
48.
Man, is he 50?
I don't know.
I'll say 50.
He is 49. That's
Oh,
a
it's a
push. TV personality Khloe Kardashian.
Is that what we're calling her now? She's married to Travis Barker, right? Is she the one married to Travis Barker?
I only know one that I care about, and that's Kim.
That's your boo.
Oh, I love her.
Khloe Kardashian, 38.
35.
She's 40. We're tied. The boss and Mr. Speaker are tied. R&B singer Her, H-E-R.
Oh yeah. 28.
32.
27. Boss man's up 3-2. She listens to our show every day. It's country singer Lori Morgan.
She was married to Keith Whitley.
She was.
72.
65.
65 exactly.
Nice, Dr.
Mr. Speaker's up 4-3.
Connor.
You miss Dr. Crane. I talk about him all the time.
I'm just used to saying that.
Singer Leah Nash. Doesn't she live here of Sixpence None the Richer?
I think so.
Leah Nash. Didn't they sing Kiss the Girl or I Kissed
Kiss
You?
Me.
Kiss Me? Something like that.
55.
61.
48.
Ooh,
You both are so wrong on that.
sorry.
How you do that? All right, so it's 4-3, Mr. Speaker. All right, then we got a couple of sports birthdays for you. These are good. Let's see here. The Rifleman, Chuck Person. Today's his birthday. How old is Chuck Person? Former Auburn player, played in the NBA forever.
He was a coach. He was on Bruce's staff too. Yeah.
He got booted.
Yeah. 60.
63.
60 exactly. The boss man has taken the lead at 5-4. NASCAR driver Johnny Benson Jr.
Johnny Benson.
Today's his birthday. How'll he be today?
58.
62.
61. We are tied at 5. And here we go. It's down to this, you two guys. How old is Jim Edmonds? For the win, how old is Jim Edmonds?
Detroit Lions?
Uh,
No.
Cardinals, Angels, and 4 other teams.
Okay,
So maybe
okay.
yes.
I'm thinking of somebody else. Cardinals, Jim. 64.
56.
Man, and the winner today is Mr. Speaker. He's
Wow.
54 years old.
Hello.
Nice.
We've never had a 5-5 tie at the end. That's well done, guys.
Pretty good.
Proud of both of you all. And that's it for today. Yeah. Well done. So we survived the fire alarm, me falling over backwards almost, and other things. So thanks for all the response on the text line about the maddest you've ever been at a sports team. We got a lot of responses. Sorry we didn't get to all of them. Maddest you've been at your favorite sports team.
Yes.
To do that. Chase, you never had an answer. You mad at me? You still mad at the Grizzlies for not taking Connect?
No, I said the Titans for cutting Derek and Samari. And
Still mad at him? I wouldn't be.
nah, I'm over it.
You
I moved on. Derek, I don't know if Derek is, but I'm over it.
He did quite well on his second career. Did very well in his second career.
Thanks to the Omni Nashville Hotel and Kitchen Notes for having us here today. We'll be at Nashville Super Speedway tomorrow.
As always, to our guys out there, we close every show. To our guys, if you're struggling, need to talk to somebody, please reach out. Please dial 988 on your cell phone. If you need to talk to us, we'll talk to you. Some of you guys have reached out. We love it. We love talking to you. We love knowing that you're okay. We love that more than anything else. As we say, God has you on this earth for a great purpose. And if something happened to you, you'd be tremendously missed. And know that we tremendously, tremendously love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. Willie and D. Mace with Willie Donick and Adam Vingan coming up next. 102.5, 106.3, The Game.